especially not a 20-year-old man with a child. I'm only crying about the fact my best friend did that to me. I'm trying to play that cool girl when deep down inside, I'm not a cool girl. What can I do to better myself so you want me over her? And that's so bad. I am not chilled. Inside I'm going, just tell me you love me. Hello honeys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're just joining me now, then hi, my name is Imogen. Welcome to my bed. We've only just met and you're already on my bed. Basically today we are back with another story time Sunday. I'm coming to you every single Sunday with wispy bits, with hair all over the shop, with another story time. I'm so excited. Make sure you buckle up, get your seatbelt. I just spat everywhere. Like the ring light is actually covered in spit, and what is that? They look like little earmuffs. Does anyone else get that? I'm gonna have to tuck them behind my ears. Oh my god, no. I hope they're a little bit more controlled. Anyway, let's get in with the story time. So if you haven't watched part one, I will link part one in the description, and I'll also link it one of the sides here. I need to work out which actual side it is, but you can click the link here and go and watch part one of the story time. But basically this is all about my first boyfriend, and he had a child, and it's all about the rocky relationship that I had. Basically, I did a video a long time ago when I first started my channel, like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, about my ex-boyfriends, and a lot of you wanted me to do that story time. I'm not doing this story time because I still want to talk about the past, because trust me, the past is the past for a reason. Like, see you later. Yes, I am happily married. I love my husband more than life itself, but I feel like doing these story times is a helping hand for a lot of people out there that go through the same situations as I was in. If I don't use this platform for good, then what am I using this platform for? Like, for me to be able to share stories with you and be open with you, I hope that it makes you feel less alone, and it makes you feel like you can relate to me, because we all go through these things, and I just want you to feel that we're all in it together. So that's why I'm doing this video. So this is episode 2 of Storytime series. So basically where we left off, he had told me that he was in a bit of a sticky situation at the moment, so we could just kind of leave it. Like, he doesn't want to be nasty to me because he wasn't a nasty, malicious person, but then also he was in a very sticky situation. He had an ex-girlfriend, and he also had a child with another woman. There's me, like 5 years younger than him, not having any clue, still being a child myself. So we kind of left it at that. However, I was still like, you know, puppy dog obsessed, but I still had to go to work. So I was going to work and I was still so infatuated with him. I just had a really young girl crush, and seeing him every day was just really horrible, and I used to speak to my friends about it all the time, be like, he's flirting with me, and he was still massively flirting with me, to the point where the senior manager was like, something's definitely going on with you two. No one knew except my best friend that we'd kissed. No one knew. However, there were 3 managers, him, a girl, and another guy. So he was very close with this girl and guy, and he actually told them that we'd kissed. The girl was really intimidating. Like, when I mean intimidating, I mean like intimidating. And she was very loud. Like, if you think I'm loud, like, she was louder than me. And she came over to me and was like, heard about you on the weekend. And I was like, you know, and you're like, oh no. She was like, you a little home wrecker? And I was like, oh my god, no. And I was like, what? I was like, whoa, I'm so confused. There's no home to wreck. I was like, they're not together anymore. And she was like, I'm only joking. And I was like, you know when you should have realised things at the time, but you didn't, and you have to make your own mistakes, and that's the problem. That is the problem. Like, your parents and everyone around you, although my parents didn't know about him at the moment, they didn't know about him at all. And when they do find out, I'll tell you about that one. It's one of those things that when you're young, you kind of have to make your own mistakes, and then you look back and you're like, but why? Why did I have to make my own mistakes? Because if only I'd actually listened to the people around me and listened to the red flags. But my name's Imogen Horton, and I don't listen to red flags. Also, just slyly drop in my new last name there. Anyway, he actually said to me, he was like, do you want to walk home with me again? And I was like, yeah, okay. So then we walked home, and I was like, listen, I was trying to play cool girl. Like, I was trying to play that cool girl when deep down inside, I'm not a cool girl. Like, I'm not a cool girl. Like, if I like someone, I like someone. I cannot hide it. I am not Mrs. Chilled back, laid back entertainer. Like, I'm just going with the flow. I don't go with the flow ever. If anyone can relate, then let your baby princess know down below, because all these girls are like, I'm so chilled about things, and I'm like, I am not chilled. I am not chilled. Like, I can't hide it. I can't hide it. Like, if I care about someone or if something's bothering me, but I try to pretend to be a cool girl. And I was like, just to let you know, like, I'm obviously so chilled about everything. Like, I obviously know you're in such a sticky situation, and like, I'm just gonna chill here and whatever. And he was like, Imo, you honestly don't have to say that to me. Like, I know you're chilled. And I was like, you have no idea how much of a weirdo I am. Like, I am not chilled. Inside I'm going, just tell me you love me, you know, like whatever. We walk home and I was like, you definitely aren't with her, are you though? And he was like, no, definitely not. It's just such a hard situation for me at the moment because she is the mum of my child and she will stop me from seeing my child if I was to get a new girlfriend. And I was like, wow. Which, listen, at the time I did judge her because I didn't understand. And that's me being honest. That's me saying like, I couldn't imagine that a woman would stop someone seeing their child because they were so upset. But when we are heartbroken, and she must have been heartbroken, when we're heartbroken, we don't always make the best decisions. And I don't believe that that's right. You know, saying to your ex-partner, if you meet a new girl, then I won't let you see your child. That is not healthy. But unfortunately, no one can sit there and say that they're perfect until they're faced with a situation. You know, I hope that me and Spencer stay together for the rest of our lives, and I know that we will. But, you know, back in the day, if I'd had a child with someone and then they would have left me and gone and got with someone else, you don't know. You don't know what goes on in your head. Like, people deal with heartbreak in different ways, and I guess her way of dealing with heartbreak was saying, if you meet someone else, I will not let you see your child. This was like a massive thing for him, and he was like, but I don't want to stop talking to you, Mo. And then he was like, there's just something about you that draws me back in. And I was like, oh god, like, oh, that's what I wanted to hear. Then again, it's not what you want to hear. And he was like, can we just like sort of see what happens? And I was like, I didn't really understand it. And I think that's why my anxiety was so bad when I was that age, because I didn't understand see what happens. Like, I either wanted to be going out with him and be his girlfriend, because I am not gonna lie, that whole seeing each other phase, isn't for me. But let me just tell you, it wasn't seeing each other, it was we're a secret. Like, can you imagine liking someone, being that age, 15, and not having a clue of what's going on? But also, they're 5 years older than you, they've got a child. You can't compete. You can't compete. He's got life experience I never would have had at that age. He's like, let's just see how it happens. And I'm like, but I genuinely do actually hate the whole seeing each other phase, because you don't have that confidence to be like, this is how I feel, because you think they could just dump me at any point. They could just go, listen, I don't want to be your boyfriend, see you later. I honestly think seeing each other is the worst phase ever, 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 ever. I feel like I just wish you'd meet someone and then you just skip the seeing each other phase. So then he said this, and then he was like, oh, there's a work night out tomorrow, you're gonna come? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he was like, just come. So then there was a work night out, me being underage, using a fake ID, wasn't actually a fake, well, it wasn't a fake ID, it was someone else's ID that they gave me. Loved it. So then everyone was like, you two are so cozy, you two are so cozy, and everyone started talking, and I think that wasn't great at all. So then he was like, listen, as long as she doesn't find out, like, I don't care. He was like, I don't care like who sees us and stuff, but I just don't want her to find out. But Brighton's a small place, and a lot of the people we work with knew people that knew his ex-girlfriend, so it was always going to come out. It was inevitable. But he's got drunk and he's like really all over me, and I'm like, oh my god, like, people are going to see, people are going to see, people are going to see. Then he's like, can I walk you home? So then we walk home and we just sat on this bench kissing for like an hour, like genuinely an hour, because he could never come to mine because I can't have boys over, especially not a 20-year-old man with a child, you know what I mean? Like, my parents were divorcing at the time, but my dad and mum were really strict growing up. Like, they, not strict like horrible strict, strict as in, that's what I think people need. Like, I had boundaries. Unfortunately, I wasn't actually listening to those boundaries at the time, but I think it's because my parents were breaking up, I was kind of like rebelling. Not rebelling in a really bad way, because I never did really bad things, like I never was a bad child, but just like, I'm gonna get a boyfriend and not tell my parents. Do you know what I mean? Which I think a lot of people do anyway. A lot of people do that. So when he walked me to my doorstep, he was like, Emma, I really don't want to stop seeing you. Like, I do actually really like seeing you. It's just a bit of a savage situation because I'm sleeping on the sofa at my mum's at the moment. And he was like, I can't really invite you there because my mum's gonna be like, what's going on? You can't have me around yours. So what are we gonna do? Like, keep kissing on benches? And I was like, I know, it's not really ideal, is it? So then it was almost like every single time we'd see each other, we'd kind of say, okay, it's not gonna work. Let's leave it. But then it always worked out that we'd see each other again and start kissing again. Like, it was just a regular occurrence. And then he invited me around to his mum's when his mum wasn't there. So his mum and his brother were out, and he was like, do you want to come around my mum? So obviously it is literally down the road. Like, when I mean down the road from my dad's, I'm like down the road. Well, it was, it's not anymore. I don't even know where he lives. I don't even know if he's in Timbuktu. Like, I don't have a clue, you know, and you're just like, I don't know, don't care. So then I went down to his mum's and we just had such a nice evening. It was just so nice to be around him, and I kind of told him a lot about my family. I told him a lot. I opened up to him, and it was nice to have someone that didn't judge me, because at the time I felt like I couldn't really tell my friends because so much stuff was going on with my mum and dad that I felt like they'd judge me. And because he was from London originally and he'd seen a lot growing up, and he was kind of like a little bit of a, you know, like talk like that, like he'd seen life more than I'd seen life. I kind of trusted that nothing I'd tell him would ever be bad to him because he'd seen a lot. And he just really opened up to me and kind of spoke to me about the relationship. And there are some things obviously I'm not going to disclose that he told me about his relationship, just because it's not my place to say too much about their relationship. But I know that it wasn't healthy at all, and I know that it was a very much a young relationship, that things might have happened that maybe he didn't want to happen, if you know what I mean. But obviously I'm not gonna talk about stuff like that because it's not my place to say, so I won't go into that. But he did really open up to me, and he was kind of like a lost boy. Like, it was really weird. Like, you could see he was really sad. He was like, I just don't want to not see my child. I love my child more than I'll love anything in this world, and I don't want to not see him. And then we just kind of kissed, and that was the night when we kind of did stuff. That was the night when we did stuff. We didn't have sex, but that was the night we did stuff. Sorry if I keep playing with my hair. I just keep looking at the viewfinder and I'm like, you look a state. I haven't been very well for like the last week. I've been really unwell, so if you can hear it, like, I'm really sorry. And if you can see remnants of cold sores, then I really apologise, but I've been really badly bedbound. Then, oh my god, after we just like finished doing stuff, he can hear his mum opening the door. Opening the door, like genuinely opening the door. I have never seen someone shit themselves so much. He got his mum to go in the bedroom. He was like, Mum, can you just go in the bedroom a second? So his mum went in her bedroom. Then he lets me out the fire escape. I had to run down. What floor did he live on? It must have been like above 10 or 9, whatever it was. It was a long flight of stairs to walk down. And then I don't know what he told his mum, but his mum never heard me go out. But I don't know what he told his mum. Like, I can't imagine what you would have told your mum. But when I was walking back home and walking down the fire escape, I was like, that's really sad. Like, the person I like, I'm never going to be able to meet his mum. And that's what I thought at the time. I was like, I'm never going to be able to meet his mum. Nothing's ever going to happen. Like, it's just so messed up because of the situation we're in. And it upset me so much because I really liked him at the time. I did really like him. I don't know what I felt, but I did think I really liked him. Then it just became one big secret. He basically pulled me aside one day and we were walking back home, and he was like, Imogen, like, we're gonna have to be a secret, so I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I don't want to stop seeing you. I really like you. I'm falling for you, so can we just be a secret? Because if my ex-girlfriend finds out, I will not see my child. Now, most girls would understand that, and I did understand that, because I was like, oh my god, like, of course I want you to see your child. It got to the point where, my dad knows this now, but my parents were so fixated with certain things that were going on, like who was going to have custody of my little brother and so many things like that, that I could have got away with a lot, if you know what I mean. So I was actually sneaking this boy in. What did I call him in the last episode? I don't even know. That's really bad. Okay, so I just rewatched it and it's Toby. So I called him Toby, so there you go. I was gonna get his name out there then. Anyway, so I was sneaking Toby into my house, and it's actually so weird because my bedroom was opposite my dad's. Like, I don't know how no one knew, but my dad's house is on like 4 floors. It's like a London house but in Brighton, and it's on 4 floors. So the lounge and the kitchen are actually on the bottom floor. So when everyone was down there, I could easily get in my room. No one was really checking on me too much. My mum wasn't there at the time. My mum had moved out. It was my dad and my brother, and we had students living with us at the time, like foreign students who would come and study English, and they would stay in my dad's house. And that's what my parents had when I was growing up a lot, so I was used to that. But I would basically say that, you know, my best friend Benny, I would always say, oh, Benny's coming around to stay, Benny's coming around to stay. And this is the worst one. My friends would come round. My actual friends at the time would come round. I had a friend called Emily and a friend called Abby. And Emily and Abby would come round. He would stay round too. So my friends would sleep on the sofa bed on the floor, and me and him would sleep in the bed, and he'd just cuddle me and we'd just kiss. And like, it was never anything horrible. Like, he must have really liked me for a 20-year-old boy to want to come round and stay with 2 girls that were obviously immature. And like, my friend would just chill there and they'd have like good conversation. Like, my friends really liked him. My friends really liked him. And they said he must really like you, because the fact that he's risking a lot to see you means that he does like you. And he did. I know for a fact that back then that boy did really like me, because he wouldn't ever have risked losing not seeing his child to come see me. It was just a thing that we would do. Like, we would always just have sleepovers at my house, and we'd have like Domino's 2 for Tuesdays, and it got to the point where we did that for like a long time. a long time, and I used to cry about it all the time. Like, I used to cry all the time because I thought I loved him. I remember being like, oh my god, like, the boy I love, I'm never going to be able to go to the cinema with, go out for dinner with. And I used to say that to him, but I never wanted to say it too much because I thought, oh my god, he'll like fuck off and leave me. Do you know what I mean? So I was so worried about losing him that I was like never ever going to say too much about him. But I would say to him, like, I just think it's really sad, like, I can't go out with you and stuff. And he'd be like, one day, Mo, like, one day I promise we will, like, we just have to see this out, blah, blah. I remember that I went and met him once because he left his passport at my house, and I went and met him in the daytime, and his child, he brought his child out because he was looking after his child. So he brought his child out, and his child was like tiny at the time. I saw his child and I was like, oh my god, your child is so beautiful, like, he's such an angel, like, wow. It was amazing. And to see him how he was as a dad was so attractive. And he was like, do you want to come upstairs? And I was like, I really don't think that your ex-girlfriend would be comfortable if I was around your kid right now. And he was like, well, she's not gonna know, she's not gonna know. And I was like, oh, I don't know, like, that was a bit of a risky one, so I didn't go. So I went up to my house, I dropped his passport off and went up to my house. Then, worst situation ever in the world, she was walking to his at this time to do I don't know what. Like, I couldn't tell you what she was walking there for because he was looking after his child. Bearing in mind, we lived in like a triangle, so like, she lived here, I lived here, and he lived here. Walking back up to mine, she was obviously walking to his. She's seen us chatting at the bottom, and oh god, oh god, all I hear is this like screaming, shouting, and I was like, I'm gonna die, I am actually gonna die, I'm actually gonna die. Oh, this is just awful. So then I've walked into like this little side road, like you can turn left to like towards like this little bunch of shops. So I turned left, and then obviously they've had a massive row in front of their child in the street. I don't know what went down because I literally ran home. Like, oh, I've never run so fast in my life, like ever in my life. So then when they'd had their screaming row in the street, obviously they'd gone upstairs and had a more of a screaming row in front of their child, and she said, let me look through your phone. I don't know why, I don't know whether she was threatening him against his child again, but he let her go through his phone, and he was deleting all the messages from me, but she went into deleted and she was seeing all these messages. She saw my name, she knew who I was. So I was told by him to not come into work the next day. She came into my work, my friend told me, and she was screaming like, where is Imogen? I'm gonna hit her, I'm gonna kill her, screaming about me. I don't know why the police wasn't called, because obviously she was absolutely going mad. She threw things in the office, like she was going crazy, which I guess I can understand, like she was heartbroken. So, but I don't understand because I would never do that. I would never do that. But then we're different people. We're very, very different people. Me and his ex-girlfriend couldn't be any further from different. If you put us in a room, you would be like, oh my god, like so different. This was the worst part for me, I think, because I found this really hard, and a lot of you will probably understand. I've been seeing this boy for like a year, whatever, in secret. Like, we'd been meeting each other, like, bearing in mind, I had actually told the boy I loved him. I did actually tell him I loved him. He never said it back, but he said, what I feel for you is deeper than what I've ever felt for anyone, but I'm not going to tell you I love you because I'm not your boyfriend. And I don't think that's fair to tell you that I love you, because if something happens to us, I'll break your heart and it'll be horrible. And I really was like appreciative of that, because I was like, okay, good. So when we are finally together, you will tell me you love me, and you're respecting that I'm a young girl, that, you know, I'm head over heels for you. But I did actually tell him I love him. Anyway, this is where it got really hard for me, because out of nowhere, bearing in mind I've been seeing this boy for like a year, and getting close, spending so much time together, in secret, I had put up with staying in or every night, like not seeing my friends just so I could see him, because we weren't allowed to go out and do stuff together. When I mean, oh my god, you can't cope. I'm sure a lot of you have had this happen to them. He ghosted. When I mean ghosted, I mean we spoke every single day. If we weren't seeing each other, we'd be on the phone to each other. He ghosted. But ghosted to the point where he blocked me. He actually blocked me. Blocked me. Completely blocked me. I was like, what? I went to work the next day, he wasn't in. I went to the work the next day, he wasn't in. He didn't work for a week. So then when I was at work, I was like, where is Toby? Like, what's going on with Toby? I haven't heard from him or anything. And they were like, Imogen, he's got back with his ex-girlfriend. For a good year, over a year, he'd been telling me he never wanted to be with her. He was only with her because of the child. They slept in separate rooms, like all these things. He told me about how really bad their relationship got. And I actually felt so sorry for him, because I was thought of being in a relationship like that. So for me, I never, ever, 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 ever imagined they'd ever get back together. Like, genuinely, if you'd sat there and said to me, they're gonna get back together in a year, I would be like, yeah, jog on. He actually got back with her. It's so weird. It's actually so weird. I had to hand in my notice because I was like, I couldn't cope. I was actually heartbroken. I couldn't cope. Like, I was heartbroken. We weren't together anymore, and this is so crazy. He mustn't have gone out for like a good near year, because I didn't see him for 9 months. I didn't see him for 9 months. We live on the same road, basically. I never saw him once. I never heard about him from anyone. I never saw him ever. I did have a really good friend, best friend in fact, who ended up moving in with me at this time, and the girlfriend still hated me. I do have a story time on this girl and how much she screwed me over, but she was my best friend and she basically set me up to get beaten up. There is a big story time about it, but oh, that just scared me. There was like a noise that really scared me. There was a situation where I was in a club, I was 16, and I got beaten up by his girlfriend and 4 other girls. They dragged me by the hair, they ripped my extensions out, they had photos on Facebook the next day like it was a trophy of my extensions. They kicked my leg in so much I've got an indent in there. I've got scars on my body from it. I've got scars mentally from it because I was having my head kicked in, and my best friend. I'm only crying about the fact my best friend did that to me. Because, sorry, I'm not feeling sorry for myself. Like, a lot of people message me like, oh, pity party. Or like, people give me like hate because I'm crying. Like, I'm crying because I was beaten up because my best friend of so long set that up. She set me up. She was living with me and used my computer to set it up. Like, that's so bad. Just, it still hurts. It still hurts that someone would do that to me. Like, it still hurts. I'll never get over that girl. She was my best friend. Like, I don't think I'll ever, like, ever be able to fully let that one go. If you know what I mean? There's always going to be some things that still scar you and still hurt you. Anyway, so I got beaten up, and I actually do get it because he was in a relationship with her, and if you would have messaged me, like, but I just thought, caused this drama for me when, I don't know, like, I don't know. Anyway, so then, a really random one, but his dad used to go to the same pub that we used to go to watch the football because we didn't have Sky Sports. So I was there with my brothers and my dad, and this guy came up to me and he was like, Imo, I'm Toby's dad. And I was like, all right, okay. And he was like, listen, like, it's none of my business or anything like that, but he has actually told me if I was to ever see you in this pub again, because he's obviously shown me photos of you and stuff, like, if I was to ever see you in this pub, then I should tell you something. And I was like, all right. And his dad basically said that he's got back with his girlfriend because he needs to for the baby. So they weren't basically together, but they were together. So he was trying to make it work for his child. And I understood that because I had 2 parents that had tried to make it work for us. Like, my parents broke up when I was 13, and then for a long time it was hell, and then they got back together and tried to make it work for us, and it was even worse. I got that, I understood that, but it upset me more that he'd got his dad to come and tell me that. I just find that weird that he's talking to his dad about me. For me, I was never gonna move on. I didn't. I was fixated on that boy for the whole time until we eventually ended up going out again, which was in the next couple of episodes. From that moment onwards, I was still obsessed with him. Like, I'd go out clubbing in the hopes that I'd just see his face. Not to go and speak to him or anything like that, but just to see him. Like, it was so weird. I was just so... I think it was the fact that... I know this sounds bad, but I was in constant competition with her. I felt like, anyway. And I felt like I had to win a prize, and I felt like I'd lost, and that was what was having me keep going, I guess. Like, I know it sounds really bad, but I don't know if anyone's ever felt like that with an ex-girlfriend or a girlfriend. If you've ever been dumped for someone else, you always look at that girl and you're like, what does she have that I don't have? What can I do to better myself so you want me over her? And that's so bad. That's so bad. But I'm sure that that's a natural reaction. Like, I think that we have that natural tendency to, when we're young especially, like when I was younger, I did really look at his ex-girlfriend like, I was so obsessed with her. I was obsessed with her, and that's me being honest. Like, that's actually so crazy for me to actually admit, because I was obsessed with her. Like, she'd block me on everything. I would make fake accounts to go and look at her Facebook just to look at them, just to look at them as a family. Obviously, social media is such a place where people do put their highlight reel. Behind closed doors, their relationship wasn't perfect, but on Instagram, on Facebook, their relationship looked perfect, and I try and dress like her. That is me. That's a really hard thing to admit. Like, I really hope you can appreciate that. If someone is in that situation where you feel like you're comparing yourself to someone else, please don't, because it made me so unwell. Like, I was sleeping, dreaming, thinking everything about that person. Like, I need Toby what have I got to do to change myself to be more like her, when actually at the time she wasn't a very nice person. Why I was trying to be like her was absolutely ludicrous. It was absolutely ludicrous. And I didn't see him. I didn't see him out in the street. I didn't see him at pub. I didn't see him ever. Like, it's so crazy. And then it came to my 17th birthday. And that's when it all goes again on a spiral, on a massive spiral. So I guess I'll leave you on that one again. Sorry, but I feel like we should always do like dun 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 dun. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, I feel like I should always leave it on a little bit of a cliffhanger, so then you want to watch next Sunday's episode. But yeah, so we're going to go into next Sunday, which gets even more juicy. But make sure you give this video a massive thumbs up. Please give this video a massive thumbs up for me just being open and honest with you, because I feel like a lot of people shield their negativity and don't want to open up about things that they have done wrong. And I feel like one thing I want you to know is I'm the person here going, I make mistakes, I have got things that I, you know, didn't do right, and I want you to know that I've learned from them, and I want you to know that hopefully from me you can kind of look at your mistakes in the past and you can kind of learn from them and grow from them, and that's, you know, you grow through what you go through. So I just want you to know that I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be a person that keeps it real with you, and I love you all so much. And yeah, I just don't want you to ever stop knowing that I love you so much. So until next time, I'm going to love you and I'm going to leave you. I'm so excited for Tuesday's video. It's a really good one. I'm so excited for Thursday's video. It's an amazing one, and I'm so excited for the next part of this story time. So I'll see you on Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday, and until next time, I'm gonna love you and I'm gonna leave you, and hopefully I'm gonna get better. I love you. Bye.